What would be a funny thing to say to a surgeon before anesthesia kicks in 5 seconds later? Edit. Woke up today and this blew up. My surgery will be in about 5 hours. Thank you for the ideas. I had broken my wrist and was being put under to have 4 pins inserted. They gave me my anesthesia through an IV. I felt coldness spreading up my arm and across my chest. The nurse asked how I was doing and I said this must be what dying feels like. I heard her say, oh my god, then I was out. So did you die? Yes. Wow. I actually have a relevant story that happened recently. As I was getting ready to go under, they were placing a device in my mouth to keep me from biting down on the scope they were going to use for the endoscopy. Think medical ball gag, but a hard plastic ring instead of a ball. As the gal was placing it in, I asked, wait, what's the safe word? I heard a good amount of laughing as the world turned to black. Edit. A word. Related comment but doesn't really answer the question. My dad was in the middle of a surgery repairing some pretty nasty damage on his wrist after a skiing accident. He was under heavy anesthesia, but the surgeons were having serious trouble with the screws in his wrist, which apparently jarred him around enough to wake up. He noticed their struggles and managed to say righty tighty, lefty loosey. Then he passed back out. Ha. I'm told that when I was out having one of my fingers patched up and another reattached after a table saw accident, I asked the surgeon if the drill he was using to put screws in my hand was a DeWalt or a Ryobi. Once a tool man, always a tool man. I had just woken up after having my shoulder worked on. I was in and out of consciousness for a bit and just generally ducking whacked out. I guess I shifted in the bed and moved the blankets a bit and exposed myself as the nurse came in. She smiled and moved the blankets back. I apparently told the nurse, you saw mine. Do I get to see yours? My wife was in the chair next to the bed. I remember thinking the nurse was smoking hot. I woke up and she told me she was flattered. I have no idea what I said. Before going under for wisdom teeth, the doctor said I might feel funny. They pushed the drugs and asked if I felt any different. My a-hole and only my hole began to itch like crazy, and it was hot, not warm. Hot like I just ate peppers with my ass. I told them my a-hole is itching like crazy. The assistant was really bad at holding back a laugh. The doc resisted mightily, but he too succumbed to my newly discovered butthole emotions. They actually gave me some kind of drug that had the exact same effect when I had surgery. They warned me prior, though, and I kind of laughed it off until it actually happened. As the anesthesiologist was putting me under, he just said I'd start to feel sleepy soon. I asked him, aren't I supposed to be counting back from 100 or something? He replied, I don't know, I must have skipped that class. Being an anesthesiologist must be awesome as you can always get the last word in. Anesthesiologist, okay, how are you feeling now? Me, makes lame joke. Oddly, at this point the room starts cracking up. No way it was that funny, right? Anesthesiologist, told you so. Turns out he gave me a little anterograde amnesia before a spinal block, endured my stupid joke, then told the room, watch this. He's going to say the same dumb thing again, word for word. I like how you know it's a lame joke, then get suspicious that people actually laughed at it. Classic schmoss B. Bonus story. Another surgery. Docs are cool, they let me be awake so I could watch it for fun. Surgery is happening. I'm watching him on the monitor as he hacks away tissue inside my ducked up joint. It's ducking cool, but hard to follow. Surgeon graciously explains things to me a little as he works. I'm biting my tongue trying not annoy him by asking too many questions. But of course I'm on drugs. I probably got a little chatty. Last thing I remember, I say something. He just looks over at the anesthesiologist. Night. I want the ability to do that at my job. Someone's giving me lip. I just nod to the anesthesiologist. I had an anesthesiologist that looked like Dan from Rosine. He was awesome though. I had to have 2 eye surgeries, and he was the anesthesiologist for the second one. He came in to explain the process and asked me, Sue, I see you had surgery a week ago. So you know how this is done, right? I nodded and said yes, sir. His face suddenly got really serious looking, and he said excellent. Most people freak out when they see the hammer. Edit. Yes, John Goodman. No, I haven't seen anything else he has acted in. Yes, thanks to this post I now have a list of movies to watch. That seems like something Dan would say in a Rosine Halloween episode. I was being put under for a wisdom tooth extraction a few years back, and it was the first time I've ever had anesthesia. They used injection method rather than gas, so they told me to watch the fluids going in, so I could gauge when I'd feel sleepy. I had this idea that I would say something like, "Oh no, doc, I've lost my eyesight," or something else preposterous. Before I could collect my thoughts, I just immediately blurted, "Well, my voice progressively getting lower, and passed out. Clay Davis. Last time I went under, as I started to fade, I said, "You're gonna have to drive." I'm ducked up. Probably came out, "You're gonna have a drive." I'm fuagduwa. Method acting. I like it. He's clearly spent time at a Method 1 clinic. Just before I blacked out, the anesthetist said to me, "This is the stuff that killed Michael Jackson." Was that propofol? Yes, good old milk of amnesia. I think it was Robin Williams who said something to the effect of, Michael Jackson was being prescribed propofol to help him sleep. Let me put that in context for you. Taking propofol to help you sleep is like having chemo because you're tired of shaving your ducking head. When I got my wisdom teeth removed. Doctor, alright, so you feeling that sedative yet? Me, yeah, a little bit. I bet I can stay awake though. How long can people usually fight it? Doctor, not long. Good night. Me, blackout. I remember laughing when I woke up because that was the last thing I remember. I had this exact same conversation. The only difference was I woke up halfway through them taking out my wisdom teeth. My mother could hear my yelling from the waiting room. The doctor was a little surprised. Edit. Would this be a good time to mention I had an upper GI scope last week and woke up during that too? This one was less dramatic. I made eye contact with the doctor and then tried to rip the scope out of my mouth. Then back under I went. Wow. So many who have woken up during procedures. We should band together and do something. Something nefarious. Edit 2. I do not have red hair, nor am I Irish. Till red hair can indicate a resilience to anesthesia. Same here for my wisdom teeth. Woke up, saw blood all over the surgeon's hands, heard a crunch, they had to shatter a tooth. Thought to myself, well, duck that, and went right back to sleep. Waking from anesthesia, one time I heard someone say his blood pressure is a little high, then I mumbled that'd be the anesthetist's assistant's fault. They then kinda startled, asked quickly, "Why is that becoming slightly more coherent?" I continued with, "She's really hot." They all laughed and said he'll be fine, and released from theater. How it really sounded. His blood pressure is a little high. Thought the anesthetist done. What was that? She's really hoo. Get this man out of here. Awful lot of white people in here. Me, after being sedated for a colonoscopy. This is even funnier if you're also white. Even funnier if you're the doctor. That reminds me of the last colonoscopy I had. The sedation didn't take, and I woke up several times during the procedure yelling in pain and confusion. Before I conked out for good. When I woke up, the doctor tried to talk to me about how I was feeling. But I was so upset and freaked out I hissed at him, then refused to speak at all. Do you hiss normally? Or was this some spontaneous trauma-induced regression to an animalistic state? I was kinda still whacked out, so I'm pretty sure it was the second one. I've had a couple of combative reactions when coming out of sedation, making a fuss, trying to pull out IVs, etc. According to my mom, I yelled for one of my favorite TV characters to save me one time. Save me, Green Ranger. So after my dad had a triple bypass and was just waking up and they had removed the breathing tube, I was in the room with him. I said something along the lines of, "Everything went perfect with your surgery, Dad. No problems." My dad in his drug haze said that is because I'm a perfect specimen of a human male and it couldn't have gone any other way. Nurses were cracking up. If something goes wrong and I go into a coma, don't you dare ducking. Cut my coma beard. Yes ma'am. My surgeon told me to think of a happy place. Then he asked me where it was. The Simpsons kicked in and I told him it was the happiest place on earth. To Joanna. I didn't stay awake long enough to see if he got the reference. Tahiti. It's a magical place. I had to get some surgery that involved cutting open my head. Right before they gat me, I said, I should warn you, there's a spooky skeleton in there. The last thing I remember is his response of I'll try to look out for that. Doot doot. I swear to God, if I wake up as Robocop. If I don't make it through this, tell my wife I want her to be buried alive with me. If I don't make it through this, tell my wife I said hello. All I know is my gut says maybe. They had a thing checking my heart and it fell off and it flatlined. I told them God damn it you killed me. Quick we are losing me. I tend to get massive erections while under anesthesia, but it's fine. Just tape it down if it gets in the way. Apparently that's actually a thing. The blood flow is actually usually stopped by a muscle, and when that muscle relaxes the blood flow increases and causes boner. So the anesthetic relaxes this muscle. This also explains the random boners you get in algebra in high school while you were bored. I was more of a history boner type of a guy. Yo, let me know if you see my phone in there. I'm getting my a-hole operated on at the end of the year. Saved. Yo, if you find a pair of plastic horses in there, don't worry, the situation is stable. When I got my wisdom teeth out, the dentist's office was right next to a funeral home. I told the guy that if anything went horribly wrong, they could just take me next door. Mother and doctor were not amused. As they were pushing the drugs they asked me to count backwards from 10. All I could say was, no. The room erupted in laughter and I was out. Ducking make me, doc. When I had my wisdom teeth removed and was given general anesthetic, I apparently said, if this is what being on drugs is like, sign me up. He went and told on me to my mother. The general anesthetic I was on for mine made me absolutely loopy. My girlfriend walked me to the pharmacy, told me to sit down and not go anywhere. I said where would I go? Like it was the dumbest thing anyone had ever told me to do. The moment she turned to go get my prescriptions filled I got up and wandered off. I still don't know where I was trying to go. If you liked this video don't forget to smash the like button. For more hits and giggles, subscribe.